All right, everyone, we have an awesome surprise for you. We have Peter Tuchman, Einstein of Wall Street. We all know him, and most of all, we all miss him. So nice to have you on the show, Peter.
Wednesday Wisdom with Einstein on Thursdays. I love it.
You know what? I want to first start off to say I know you got sick, and it's nice to see you, bounce back looking nice and gorgeous. How are you feeling?
I don't feel good. I'm doing much better, but I don't particularly feel good. I'm still sort of suffering a lot of the collateral damage from the virus and two viruses, which I ended up getting, meningitis and the COVID. So I have, as you can hear, I'm still dealing with a raspy bronchitis. I have some nerve damage and back of my head and my legs. And so there's some residual shit, and fatigue is extreme. I started walking about 3 days ago, so I'm trying to get about a mile and a half a day in. And no question, I'm definitely on the other side of the virus, but I'm still, it's a long recovery.
Well, I said that Einstein is just as strong as he is smart, so.
Well, I may not be as smart as I used to be. We'll see. We'll know at the end of this interview.
So, Peter, I have to ask, because I interviewed you on Monday. All of a sudden, the New York Stock Exchange closes on Wednesday or Thursday.
Right.
You don't come in.
Right.
What happened?
So I woke up on Tuesday night around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just was sick as a dog. I was fine on Monday and Tuesday. We were all trading, right? The prior week was the March 12th week, where the market was down 900, 1,500. We did interviews. The virus was definitely starting to curl over the banks of the tsunami here from China to Italy to the US. But, the market was just getting a sense of it. The president gave that pandemic speech on Wednesday. And I think the reality was starting to set in as we talked in interviews and whatnot, and a number of other interviews I did. People were just starting to get a sense, as you felt it on the floor, that something major was happening, right? The market was starting to break. And we went into circuit breaker mode and all that, right? So that was that week. And then there was the speech where, I mentioned it yesterday in a chat I gave about the fact that I think we were all looking for some leadership to support the market, which was obviously in free fall and fear of the country. And I don't think we got that at all. And that could have contributed to that week being such a ruthless week. We all went away for the weekend. Everything was fine and good. I came into work Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday night I came home and went to bed, and around 1, 2 in the morning, I woke up and I was just sick. I had really bad bronchitis, really bad sore throat, aches and pains everywhere. I knew I definitely had something. And since the stock exchange was so prepared by having that COVID team outside the exchange that week, I knew that I really wanted to get tested. I have a wife who's been in chemo. I didn't want her to be at risk. And everyone else in the company and the floor, because obviously we're on top of each other. So I thought, what a great opportunity. I'll go in, get tested in the morning, and I'll go home, which is what happened. So I got tested Wednesday morning, and they sent me home. And that was sort of the beginning of the journey. I believe that was like March 17th, perhaps, something like around there. Mm-hmm. And the next 3 days were sort of a wind up, just like feeling fluey and not comfortable, and temperature started to go up and whatnot. And then it sort of catapulted into the next 10 days from basically Friday on. I got the test came back positive on that following Wednesday. But Friday on, the prior Friday going forward, for the next 10 or 12 days, I kept just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. The virus definitely, it did come back positive on Wednesday. But prior to that, my temperature started going up. I felt really battered, physically. My body just felt beat up. I lost my sense of smell and taste, and developed really bad, incredible pain in the neck and the head. It just felt like my neck and head were, a vice grip, headache. My neck felt like it was broken glass. And each day I was just under siege by the virus. I got positive on Wednesday. I was already in the throngs of 102 plus.
I mean, it was kind of crazy. Like, I was even telling my friends, if I'm going to work until the New York Stock Exchange closes. And I had high doubts that it would happen. And it did happen. It was crazy. When do you think we're going to open back up?
You know what? So we are now in, doesn't every day feel like it's like night and day and months and weeks. They all just roll into each other.
I feel like
right?
I'm in Vegas, but not the fun part.
I always love these posts on social media going, does anybody really know what day it is? Like, what the heck? Anyway, so we're in the middle of the latter parts of April. You know, there's the shelter in place order that stops going into effect on May 15th. My gut is that we will probably open, I don't think any later than the end of May, and I don't think surely not sooner than May 15th, but I'm hoping within there. May 18th is a Monday. I'm hopeful that we'll get going by then. I know they're anxious to get the floor open. I know they're anxious to try and get the city open. I'm not a fan of that, having lived through this experience.
What do you mean you're not a fan of it? You don't think it's a good
Well,
idea
I'm
to
not,
open up the city?
I think a rollout too soon could be dangerous. That's just my own opinion. You know, having lived through the disease and have been in touch with a lot of wonderful team of doctors and learned so much about it, and kind of have a little bit of a bird's eye view of the inside of what's going on in the emergency rooms and at community hospitals all over the city. Things have really not gotten that much better. Perhaps there are enough ventilators somewhere. Perhaps there are a few more beds available in ICU somewhere, but the spread of the virus is not contained. You know, there's really no way to get a real sense of the numbers until we're doing 1 million tests a day, right? Ever since I posted my story, which I kind of did because I realized I was privileged and to have this wonderful group of doctors who kept me out of the hospital and really kept me alive. And that I noticed on social media that there were, there's 75,000 people who have recovered, who are on the journey of this virus. And it's such a ruthless virus that, if you listen to their stories, and I've become privy to thousands and thousands of stories on a page on Facebook called Corona Survivors. There are people who are living just a fearful, anxious, traumatic experience. One, for example, a lady posted yesterday, that, and in a very matter-of-fact way, that we're sort of so dislodged from reality. It was just a post on Facebook that said, guys, I need to share this. My dad died a week and a half ago of COVID. He was 67. He had been a fireman. My fiance, who I'm supposed to marry in June, who's 37, is on a ventilator. I don't know if he's going to make it. I'm home alone with my 2 children. I don't have contact with my doctors. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. Is anybody living this experience? And I kind of realized that there's tens of thousands of people out there, who are living some level of this. And it's just, so my fear is that if we open too early, if we start to go back to some semblance of normalcy, meaning I don't think it's going to get normal for a long time.
And we can't wait for that. I have to ask you before we go, Peter, since you're not at the New York Stock Exchange right now, what are you doing? Did you pick up any cool hobbies in the meantime?
So, a lot of the business I do is very predicated on being on the floor, right? Some people have customers that they can do offsite trading, which is what the exchange is set up for in the case of a crisis. I'm not one of those people. So besides that, I've been sick for 35 days. So at no point would there have ever been a time for me to actually do any trading. I've only started getting up and walking around over the last 3 days. So the answer to your question is no. I would say for a majority of the time that I've been home, I've virtually been able to do nothing except kind of get through my days, and try and get healthy and stay healthy, eat healthy. Now starting to walk around and trying to get myself back up and going.
Peter? You have to be doing something to not go crazy.
I'm sort of surprised, to be honest with you. I will say one odd thing that I did. I'm a big TV person, and I like to have TV on 24/7 just for static and just visual stimulation and entertainment. I have not, about 3 or 4 days into the virus, I was so sick and so decimated just in every way by this. I have really sensitivity to light and anything visual. I turned the TV off, and I've not turned the TV on for 27 days.
Wow,
So
that's different.
that's baffling, right? I also realized that nothing good was happening on there. That, you know, the news about numbers of deaths and contaminants and whatnot was not going to serve me in any way.
You know, thank you so much for taking the time to come on an interview with me. I know that you are looking great. You're recovering. I hope that you can be reunited fully with your family soon, and that we hit the New York Stock
I hope
Exchange running.
so. I can't wait to see you
Thank you
soon.
so much.
Bozzy, I'm always here for you.
We'll see you soon. And I like your Nantucket sweatshirt, just saying.
Thank you. Modern Wall Street is the best. We love you.
Thank you, Peter. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.